Brown rice and some lentils with a little bit of olive oil and some seasoning like cumin and garlic. It's amazing. I still eat that even after the program. Yes?
Are you going to give us a flyer that has all this?
There's a booklet.
There's a booklet.
There's a booklet.
Okay.
There's recipes as well that I can pass along to. Definitely. There's, do you know about the email support program?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's an email support program that's really good. They'll send you out an email like 4 o'clock in the morning, suggested recipes, what you're to expect that day, and just a reminder of your supplement schedule. So there's no excuse, really. The person that doesn't follow through and is 100% compliant with this, they just no will whatsoever because you've got so much support going on. So that's something that, yeah, definitely. And there's a lot of blogs on the internet too about this. So many people that have done this and got great results. We talked about cholesterol. Check this one out, Megan. Cholesterol from 344 to 182. There's no statin drug in the world that can do this. And a statin drug are the drugs that lower cholesterol. From 344 to 182, what does it? Lifestyle changes. Because that encompasses everything. That encompasses getting rid of the processed foods. That encompasses moving around a little bit. Do we have to park in front of the mall? I mean, we spend more time looking for that parking spot than we do, walking. So get that exercise. I used to teach at a college in Columbus, resistance training. So, this is a exercise class. And we were on the 2nd floor, and some of my students would take the elevator. I made them walk down one time. I said, this is ridiculous. We're in an exercise class, and unless you're injured, we're walking up the steps. I mean, we got to start practicing what we preach here. You're all going to be personal trainers and such, and we need to do that kind of thing. So these are the things that are lifestyle decisions we're making that really, when after a week, after a month, after a year, after a couple of years, it makes a big difference, huge difference. So make sure you have the proper foods and recipes for the program. You'll have that. Communicate with the office. Don't let anything slide by. You have them at your disposal. Make sure you ask the right questions. And there's another thing here. Here's a challenge. Try a veggie and fruit you've never tried it before. So I want to leave you with this last thing that I think has been very motivational for me. At the beginning of the year, you go to church. It was, the first of the year. It's always it's always on resolutions and how to improve yourself. But the best thing I've ever heard, I think, is this: before you make a decision on what you want to do, think of who you want to be. We got a lot of different people here. 5 years from now, where do you want to be? Who do you want to be? These are the decisions that get you there, whether you buy this program or not. But just as you're walking through the grocery store, those are decisions that are going to make you who you are 5 years from now. And I promise you, someone who is suffering from disease is a totally different person and deals with a whole totally different thing than someone who isn't. So now's the time to make those decisions that are going to make you that person. For some of you, it might just be, I want to see my grandchildren go to college. I want to see them grow up and go to college. So again, think of who you want to be, how you want to live your life, and what you have to do today to get there. So a little encouragement there. They're going to make the shakes now. You'll be able to taste them firsthand. And the doc is great support here. So if you have any questions, you can pass them on. And any questions on what I covered?
Any other benefits besides the weight loss? Because I know a lot of people are interested in weight loss as one of them, but give them other examples as to what the purification can also help them.
Yeah, one of the things I kind of just touched on, which is the whole thing of these symptoms that they go from one specialist to another. There's no one that can really help them. Headaches. There's just skin irritation, skin issues. In that sense, we can't predict what it's going to do, but it's amazing the stories we get, from renewed hair growth to psoriasis. I mean, finally, after many years of psoriasis or eczema, that helping. But on the other side, and I think this is really interesting, these are some of the things we hear. Improved sleep. Sleep is something that we just, someone who's sleeping takes for granted. that other people are. And it's amazing how many people get 3 to 4 hours of sleep. Kids, they can't sleep, they go to bed, and they get their second wind and can't sleep. Improved sleep is huge. Not craving sugar is very big. Which, when you're not craving sugar, that always equates to increased energy levels. Because you've always got sugar, you've got blood sugar available for your organs to do what they need to do. Energy, stay alert. Your brain starts to work. Here's another thing I hear a lot. The fogginess is gone. You can think more clearly. You know, it's almost like you can't think, you can't focus. You know, this is, I'm convinced that there's 2 things that this would help a lot. Someone who's on something like ADD, ADHD medication like Ritalin, and people who are on antidepressants. It helps. On the antidepressant side, if you balance blood sugar levels, you're in a better mood. I'm wondering how many times that gets prescribed for the wrong reason. Because it's just blood sugar levels. Maintain them, the person's able to deal with stress a lot better, if that's the case, or just in general. And then the focus, it's the mental clarity that they have. They're able to focus a little more. Students can actually study for more than an hour without thinking about everything else in their world. So these are the things that we find. And the list goes on and on and on. There's another thing that I think is really, really interesting. If you do this as a family, husband and wife, I've seen this bring families together. And there's no, to me, I can't be prouder than when I hear a patient that's gone through this, how, and again, this is a sweet spot for me, how their kids now are eating asparagus, broccoli, and they never did before. That, to me, is very, very rewarding when you have the kids following suit, and they'll do what they see you doing. So that, I love that, how it brings families together. They come around, again, they come around dinner like it was supposed to be a time for family to share. So those are 3 kind of interesting, almost indirect ways how the purification can help. In all reality, the weight loss is a side effect. We're not really, that's why you shouldn't be hungry in this program. But there's no better weight loss than this. It's healthy weight loss, and it's sustained weight loss. What more could you ask for? This is the right way to do it. Now, and keep this in mind. If you really wanted to lose weight, cocaine is great for that. You know? Yeah, it is. It's really, really good for that. I hear.
You saw it all.
I've never done that.
Never done any of that kind of stuff in my life.
Yes.
How often can you do it?
Good question. It depends on your lifestyle. If you know, there was a time when I worked in a lab in a chemical plant. You know, for me then it would have been good at least 2 times a year, if not 3. But again, if you're working in an office, you're not exposed to a lot at home. You're not, you know, the more your lifestyle changes, the less the need. So keep that in mind. You know, if you're a smoker and you're just having a hard time giving that up, you're going to need to detoxify more often. I'd say 3 times would be good in a year. But for most, you know, I do it once a year. I feel like I kind of feel when I need it, and it's usually always about a year. A year's what it amounts to. My boss does it next week every year. Why? After the Super Bowl. He wants to get that last one in, and then it's detoxification. Yeah. So he does it every year at the same time. But yeah. But to answer your question, that's it. It just depends on how, you know, what you're exposed to.
What about medications that you're on? The medications that you take daily while doing this purification?
Okay, there's 2 things to say about that. There's some medications that, while on the program, the need for them will go away. Here's one that's very common, high blood pressure medication. And you'll know because you're on the program and you'll stand up and you'll get dizzy. Because you're normalized, but the medication is bringing you too low. So in that case, and because of that, I would say, check with your doctor. We're not physicians. We can't practice medicine to tell you, get off of it. But you can go to your doctor and say, I'm not sure if I need this dose still, or maybe I don't even need it at all. If it's a responsible doctor, he'll check, and if not, remember, the doctors work for you. They work for you. We're trained to think otherwise. Ooh, I don't even want to make the doctor angry. So no, if you don't like that answer, go to another doctor. You know, but that's, and it's, I've even heard stories where doctors have said, you know, stop the program. You need to be on the medication. That's ridiculous. You know, if you don't need it, you don't need it. So yeah, just check with the doctor to make sure. Yeah, and that's what I would do. Well, but if you're on other medication, again, just stay on it. And a lot of things you don't want to take out because these medications are very strong. And if you go cold turkey, you're not going to feel good. It's not going to be a good thing. So yeah, and that's why we say green tea with the cough instead of the coffee, because I mean, you might get some headaches in the beginning, but it's avoiding the caffeine and all that.
What about
Yeah.
adding like honey into tea?
Yeah, you know, the honey is sugar. It's a more natural sugar. On the program, no, not on the program. But then later, that's a great alternative to sugar. I would highly recommend it. I get one that's called really raw honey. I get it at Whole Foods, and it's really delicious. And it's just honey. That's it. Nothing else.
Local honey, okay? I mean.
Yeah. Local honey. That's good.
After the program, what about organic raw cane sugar?
Yeah, after the program, but just like fruit is nature's candy, but it has fructose in it, and fructose will, that will make you fat. That will, so you do too much of it. So understand that, like fructose can really increase.
Is that like sugar in the raw?
What?
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah,
Like sugar in
really
raw?
cane sugar. Yeah, so I'm not saying that if you're gonna use if you have to use it, that's what you would use.
Yeah.
But the idea is to get away from everything being sweet. Like
There's
if
so
you
much
want
sugar in everything.
Yeah,
Even
but,
milk,
Yeah, so like say it's your birthday and someone wants to make you a cake, that would be a great time. Use that. We have alternatives. But yeah, I wouldn't say like, oh, this is a free for all. The only thing that's a free for all the time, vegetables. You can do that all the time. Even grains, you don't want to eat. If you're eating grains all day long, it's all carbohydrates. Yeah. So, thank you for your time. And they're making the shakes now. And I think if you have more questions, you can ask Dr.
Yeah, so we'll get started on some of that. Any questions that